Good morning. We are going to continue with our drawing of the iron and the spray bottle. And what I want to mention this morning is when you get started, please make sure that you have an accurate drawing of the forms. So make sure your drawing is as accurate as it can be. And this morning we're going to be working with hatching, and I want to emphasize that when you're looking at the forms, that you make sure you identify where the dark areas are, where the light is hitting the form, and you notice what's happening on the surface. First of all, you're going to make sure you set up your composition so that it fits the space. Make sure that you try to get the accurate details of the items that you're drawing, in this case the iron and the spray bottle. Then once you have an accurate drawing, you can go ahead and then you could start to shade your forms. So the first grade is going to be for your drawing. The next grade is going to be for how well the composition fits the page and accurately drawn on the page. Make sure your items dominate the space. And then the next grade will be how you show tonal values. This morning we're going to be showing tonal values with hatching lines. You can put in some cross hatching lines if you like. And I want to emphasize that you make sure you put in the baseline, you surface your object. So wherever it's sitting, you make sure you draw in the table and include the shadow. Okay, so we're going to continue with our shading onto the spray bottle. And we were looking at the details. And we were looking that the light was hitting one side of it. In this case, we're going to put the light coming in from this side and the darkness on this side. But as you note, there's darkness and then there's a little area of light because it's a cylindrical or cone-shaped form. So we're going to continue in with that, and then we're going to portray the form the way we see it. So we're going to come in. I think this is the darker side, and notice I am hatching using lines that go from side to side, but they're curved lines. So in our lesson today, we learned that there are line variations. So I'm going to continue with this area of darkness right in here. And I'm going to cluster them kind of close together as I get down in here. But seeing that it's a cone-shaped form, I'm going to go in there. Then it has an area of light. So now I'm going to put in my thin lines. Put in some longer lines in the area that I wanted it dark. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in some, but I'm curving those lines slightly with the shape of the form. So I'm going to go in, fill this in, and then as it comes from the side, seeing that it does have a little bit, not as much as, and it's not as dark as, so I'm going to put in some short curved lines coming in from the side to show that the form has, and then I'm going to connect these with some light lines in the middle to show that there's a light space coming right there. It's not as light as the other spaces. So I can fill that in some more. But I just wanted to show you that I made sure that you could definitely see where the dark areas is in this form. And now I'm going in a little deeper and I'm putting my lines a little closer together so you can see that. And now as I go out of this area, I am going to put some midtones to show that I'm going to another light spot. So I'm going to attach my lines and try to get your hands moving in that same direction all the time. So I'm connecting so you don't see a transition between the two areas. I'm trying to connect. So I'm going to go this way. I'm going to to keep going. I'm going to keep going till I get the effect I would like to get. Now there's a definite lighted side. Okay, just a little bit of darkness coming out of there. So I'm going to fade that out. Not that much coming from the top. And then this side is lighter. So I'm going to go ahead and carry it down. I'm trying to get the whole shape for you. Okay, so we're going to get in there. And then, of course, we're going to connect. So that you don't see the transition, I'm trying to connect. So you don't see the transition. I'm going to put some midtones in between to connect. So it all looks like one form. Doesn't look like patches. I want to make sure I show my darkness where the darkness really is. So I'm trying to portray what's going on here. And I have to come a little bit more in on my dark side over here. Okay, so I'm going to try to get this side looking a little darker. And of course the light side is here. But in that light side, as always, we're going to leave that light. Leave that light. And then, of course, we always say on the edge, it has a little shade because it's coming around a curve. A little bit of darkness going into the light. So I'm going to spend some time and I'm going to connect all of those areas so that it all looks as if it's one section of the container. I want to remind you that when you are hatching, that you don't leave it. You're trying to make it look close to the form as you possibly could. So right now, I'm feeling like this part needs to have a little more darkness. I could even bring in some thicker lines to indicate that. Still working with lines, but I'm going to bring in some thicker lines to indicate where my darkness is. And I'm going to connect it. I'm going to look at the form. While you're drawing, I need you to look at the form as much as you could. And then you can, so you can see exactly what's going on to the form. Then you can go into the other areas, then into the iron. I'm going to quickly just switch into the shadow now. Of course, you can change the colors of your coloring pencils. Right now, I'm going to get a black Sharpie to work with my shadow. My shadow is right up under the object. Okay, and I do see some reflection going on. So right now, right up under the object, I'm going to go ahead and work with my shadow. I'm going to get my Sharpie under there. But notice, I'm working with lines to produce my shadow as well. Of course, right under the form, you can start out with a thick line. Remember, we said that there's a variety of lines you can use. If I want to cross hatch it, I could. I'm giving you the option. But right up and now, I'm going to put my line into my shadow. There's not a line going around the shadow. So if I want to go ahead and blend that into, to make it some crosshatch lines, I could. So I can go ahead. I just want to make sure I get a good Sharpie going on there. And I can go ahead, and so you can see my lines distinctly. And then if I want to crosshatch it, I could crosshatch it. So you can see the distinction between the two areas, the shadow, what's going on under the form, and what is going on onto the form. I'm just going to get a little small section of this iron now. I noticed there is an area that has a blue. I don't have that particular color with my markers, so I'm going to get something as close as I think I could. I'm just going to get where the light is hitting in this area because I know that some of you might have problems, Ms. Strawn, but you did that section but you didn't do any other section. So I am going to come right in here, and this area is a light blue, but right down here on the line, it's a dark blue. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to get it light. See, I'm still going with my form. I'm going to check, see if you can see this really good. As I get down in the darker areas, I'm going to put my blue close together. So I'm still working with lines. I'm working my lines a little thinner, but as I get down in the deeper area, I'm going to put my lines a little close together. So in the lighted area, I am going to put them far apart. In the deeper areas, I am going to put them closer together, and I'm going to keep working my lines so they are continuous, but they're filling in the space the way I would like it to. So right in the deeper, darker areas, as it comes out of this area, it gets dark. Put some midtones in there. I'm just going to go in here to fill in there. And then as I come up, I'm going to make it lighter. So you're hatching the whole object, yes. The areas that needs to be left alone, you can go ahead and leave alone. But the areas that you can see definite light and shadow, I'm coming out of this area. So I'm going to come and make this a little darker. So notice I'm putting my cluster together. And then when I come out of that area, I'm going to take my lines and try to be consistent with how I do my lines. I'm going to try to put in midtones in here so you don't see the transition when it comes from one area to the next. I'm going to get them close. But now I'm going to try to connect them. But keep on putting in lines. It's hatching, so you're going to make sure the lines are close where you want them. In here, it's close together. It's close together. And then on the next section. So you can continue your picture until it's finished. And thank you very much.